Greetings everybody. June Allen here from juneallen.net, and I teach Black self-love, sisterhood and sobriety. So welcome to my broadcast, everyone. For those of you as well that are watching on the replay. So I want to talk to you today about how to deal with lockdown and election anxiety. There's been a lot of stuff going on. And I've just been hearing a lot of people talking about anxiety and how to deal with it, you know, people not sleeping, all of this kind of stuff. So I thought I would jump on and share some things about what you can do around your anxiety. So before I get into that, I just want to give you a little bit of background. Hi Dana, hi, thanks for joining. I sent you a message, Dana, I hope you got it last night. I just want to get into it a bit more. So my name is June Allen from juneallen.net, and I am a mum, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a retreat facilitator, and I'm also a psychotherapist in training. So I teach Black self-love, sisterhood and sobriety. And I came into doing this work. Just a little bit of background for those of you that are not that don't know my work. I came into doing this work in 2009. I went into 12-step recovery after a string of difficult relationships, and I realised that there was no cultural context. I needed to understand what it meant to be a Black woman doing this work, not just doing the healing work for the sake of doing healing work, but how does living under the system of racism impact how I feel about myself? How does it impact how I parent? How does it impact how I show up in my relationships? So I started doing a lot of exploring, and the light bulbs just started going off. And so I just began sharing a lot more openly about this stuff over the years. And more people started coming to me asking for my support. And then it was just amazing. And then obviously, I started training to become a therapist, and the rest is history. So, and I absolutely love what I do. So I'm very grateful to be here a few years later on this platform, sharing a lot more officially and professionally about how you can really take care of yourself as Black people, as Black women. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the content. The theme in the mastermind, I run a mastermind for Black women called Sacred Sister Sanctuary, and the theme for this month is all about handling the holidays. The holidays are just around the corner, Christmas is just around the corner, however you celebrate it. And there's times when we're going to need to figure out what that's going to look like, especially in the current circumstances. So in the mastermind this month, I'm going to be taking through the ladies all about what do the holidays mean for them, what are your triggers. These are the class that I'm doing on Sunday. What are your triggers, what are your resentments, what are your expectations, and then after that we're going to be doing a part 2 class, which is all about setting up your plan. What does it look like, how is it going to work, and how to make the holiday season work for you this year despite everything that's going on. So that's what's going on in the mastermind this month. And then obviously, because of everything that's going on, I also have a free ebook on racial stress. Okay, so if you click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. You can download the free ebook, okay, and it's got lots of tips and tools in there about how you can take care of yourself under the current climate. Okay, right, so now let's get into the content. So if you know anyone that's stressing out, that's got anxiety or whatever, please tag them, share this broadcast out to anybody that you think will find it useful. If you've got any questions or anything about anything that I share, please feel free to drop them in the comments, or you can email me info@guideofgreatness.com, or you can send me a direct message if you don't feel comfortable sharing whatever you need to share in the comments. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what is anxiety. Okay, so anxiety for me, it means that at some level you don't feel safe. Okay, at some level, either a person, a place that you are, there's something about the environment that feels really unsafe. So obviously, with everything that's going on at the moment with COVID and all of these reports about Black and brown people being disproportionately affected by it, that's going to make us feel unsafe. Obviously, with the elections going on, with Trump doing whatever he's doing, that again is going to create anxiety. You know, for somebody that is so blatantly obvious about what his views are about racism and all of that, you know, as a black person, you know, it makes you feel unsafe. It's almost like, you know, our melanin is such a target for people to kind of act out all of this stuff. And so and it's not, obviously we can't take our skin off, but it is what it is. And so it just means that being able to sit inside our bodies feels really unsafe. And so I realized this last night, that I kind of got myself into a bit of a, I was just doing too much. I was working too much, working longer hours than I should have done. And like yesterday I paused. When I got into bed last night, I paused and I thought, okay, what is this? What's going on here? I'm working a lot. I'm doing all of this stuff. What's really going on here? Because it's not really about the work. And I had to give myself permission to pause. Okay, I had to give myself permission to pause and say to myself, okay, well, what are the feelings underneath this you know, this me wanting this compulsion for me to work? And what was underneath all of that working and busyness was actually anxiety around everything that's going on. But I hadn't actually sat down consciously and thought to myself, okay, well, how is this really impacting me personally? So what I want to share with you is the internal process that I go through to deal with my anxiety, particularly around everything that's going on. And hopefully it will also give you some really nice tools, some really easy ways that you can self-soothe, okay? So the first thing that I do to deal with anxiety, and I've just kind of said it, is to pause. Find a really safe space for you to just give yourself a moment, okay? And if you're out, if you're out at work, or you're at somebody's house, or you're in a place where, you know, it's difficult for you to actually find silence, you know, go to the loo for 2 minutes. You know, go to the loo for 2 minutes so that you can give yourself permission to kind of check in with yourself. Okay, that's just going to give you a little bit of time, just a moment to check in with your body. Okay, give yourself a moment to check in with your body. When you found that safe place to pause, just take some deep breaths. Take some really mindful, slow, deep breaths. So you just breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Do it again with me. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Even in just doing that a couple of times just helped me, brought me back into the body. Because I don't know about you, but I know that when I start feeling really anxious, what can happen is that I can kind of disassociate. It means I kind of feel disconnected from my body. I feel disconnected from what I'm doing, hence the compulsion to kind of overwork and do stuff, because I'm not really present to what my body is trying to tell me. Okay, my body and my anxiety is trying to teach me something, but I don't want to hear what it's trying to tell me. So I'm distracting myself with other things that are creating loads of busyness. Okay, so just giving myself permission to breathe and pause is going to bring me right back into my body. Okay. So the next thing is to get present to your emotions, okay? Hi, Angie. Get present to what emotions are there. So when I did this exercise last night, what came up was fear. What came up was fear. Fear, and also just feeling unsafe. And feeling sad as well, actually. Feeling safe and feeling sad. Feeling unsafe and feeling sad because of everything that's going on. And also feeling powerless. Feeling powerless over the fact that, you know, living under the system of racism means that there are people that are oppressing us, that are trying to control us. And I think it's important to say it out loud as well, that just because this stuff is going on in the States with the election and stuff is happening in the US, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be affected by us because we're over here. Because in therapy, we call this secondary trauma. Okay, it means that you might not be directly affected by it, as in the sense that nobody's, you know, in my house clubbing me over the head with anything, calling me the N-word, but I'm getting a reaction to it at a secondary level because I'm still being impacted by it, by looking at it on social media or whatever. So it's a different type of stress. It's a different type of trauma. Okay, because I believe that racism is trauma. It's a form of abuse. Okay, so you know, being present to how I feel about that is an important part of me being able to process it. Doesn't mean I'm going to be able to change what Donald Trump thinks about black people or whatever. But what's important is it just gives me an opportunity to get present to how I'm processing it. Okay, it's important for me to get present to how I'm processing it. Okay, so the next thing to do, once you've got present to your emotion, is think about, what do you need in this moment? Okay, in that moment when you've got present to your feelings, what do you actually need? So for me, what I need in those moments when I'm feeling sad, sometimes it might be that I just need to not distract myself, that I need to do something that's more soothing, i.e. go and have a bath, put on some nice music. Sometimes I need connection, or it might be that I need to call a friend and just say, look, I'm feeling really scared about what's happening. I'm feeling really fearful. I'm feeling really anxious. And I just need somebody else to tell me that everything's going to be okay. You know, it's going to be different for different people. But really giving yourself permission to understand what you need, okay, it's going to give you back your power. It's going to give you back your power, because focusing on what I can change, you know, is that's where I'm going to start to change my mood. That's where I start to change how I'm feeling, because I'm starting to think, okay, well, I can't change what Donald Trump thinks. I can't change all of those racists out there that have voted for him or whatever. But I can change how I feel in this moment. I can take care of myself. I can nourish myself with a nice bath. I can nourish myself and you know, make myself feel better. Maybe I can go and watch a really nice movie or connect with somebody that I care about. These are all really, really important things, because what can happen is we can get so caught up in what other people are doing. We can get so caught up in the things that we can't change, and we get stuck there. And you don't have to be stuck there, okay? You can make a decision to do something kind for yourself. You can make a decision not to allow yourself to get caught up in the anxiety as it is, as opposed to breaking it down and looking at what's underneath the anxiety, so that you can really learn to take care about yourself. When you're experiencing anxiety, okay, there's an opportunity for you to practice self-love. Okay, there's an opportunity for you to practice self-love. Hi Emily, thanks for joining. And so it's about letting go of those things that you really have no control over, and really focusing on the things that you can change, and what you look at on your phone, what you look at on the TV, you know, what magazines you read, how you spend your time when you're at home. You're in control of those things, and you can choose to do something really kind and loving for yourself, rather than, you know, keep looking at the board or reading the negative stuff that's going on, you know, about COVID. You know, in the UK now, we've just gone back and we've had to go back into lockdown again. And so, you know, and that can be really difficult, because it can be isolating. You know, there's only so much you can do. I mean, they haven't closed the schools and stuff yet, but it's still very difficult. You know, and it's still very difficult, and it's painful for people, you know, that live on their own as well, single parents. You know, I've struggled at times. I've really struggled at times, but, you know, I can't change the fact that this is happening. What I can change is what I do when I'm at home. And so, you know, I will make those phone calls. I will get on and do those meetings, you know, and I will get on and be honest with myself about those things that are stressful, about being in lockdown, about dealing with the, you know, what's going on in the US and Donald Trump and whatever. And I will do what I need to do to really take the best care of myself, okay? So focusing on what you can change is key. So the last thing that I do in this process to reduce anxiety is to actually thank my body. Thank my body for communicating with me. And I know that sounds really strange, because you're like, why are you thanking your body for having anxiety? It's because I have a relationship with it. When you have a relationship with the anxiety and you can have a conversation with it, that's when you begin to transform it. When you try and ignore the anxiety, and when you try and focus on the anxiety itself, okay, you're not going to change the situation, because you're trying to fight the anxiety. You're upset with the anxiety. You want it to go away, and you're focused on that. the transformation happens with the anxiety when you start to understand and explore what's going on underneath the anxiety. What is it that feels unsafe? Okay, that's the important thing. You've got to really be explorative and ask yourself, what is it that feels unsafe? Because that essentially is what anxiety is. Anxiety is trying to tell you that something or someone feels unsafe. And when you can have that dialogue with yourself, that check-in with yourself about what the anxiety is trying to teach you, that's when your the anxiety then becomes an ally. Okay, your anxiety then becomes an ally and not something that's annoying or you know, that's somehow negative. It's not a negative thing. This is where the empowering work begins, when you really start to accept what your body is trying to teach you. Your body and your mind are very clever, very, very clever. But we've been taught to kind of shut down how we feel, shut down what, you know, any negative thoughts. But these things are there to teach us that something is wrong, that something needs our attention. Okay, so the quicker that we pay attention to it and have a relationship with it, have a dialogue with it, that's when it can be transformed. Okay, so that's the little tips that I wanted to share with you today about how to deal with lockdown and election anxiety. If you know somebody who would benefit from this little breakdown that I gave you, share it with them, tag them. If you've got any other questions or anything about it, then you can drop them in the comments below, or you can send me a direct message and I'm more than happy to answer them there. Okay, so that's it. That's what I've got for you today. So take care and I will see you next time. All right, take care. Bye.